everybody. Today I wanted to show you a little tutorial on how to do sort of a twisted chignon, and I'm using this Big Sexy Hair brand. It's called Cream to Powder, and I wanted to give it a try. So I've been playing around with some different updos with it, and this is a really nice looking updo to utilize this particular product. So what it does is it creates a lot of texture, so you don't have to do much curling prior to starting the hairdo. If you're gonna do like twists and pull things out, this is a good product for that. So I'm gonna start out by putting a little bit on my fingers, and I don't need a ton. I'm using just a little bit, and I'm rubbing it in, and you can start to feel that it has a little bit of grip already, and I'm just pulling it through the top of her hair. I'm gonna use this to create my texture and volume. Now for her hair prep, I've already put a little hairspray and brushed it through and given a little bend to the ends. But I'm just putting it through here so I have something to work with. And I'm taking the hair that's in the center of the head, in the crown area, and I'm gonna gather almost half of it. So I'm getting a good amount here, and then just leaving the second half on the bottom. So like mid-head down is gonna stay, and then mid-head up I'm gathering in my hands. And what you want to do then is just gently hold it in your fingertips, and you're going to just pull it up a little loose so it gives it some good texture and volume. And you can see that it's really sticking well because I used some of that product. And I'm going to twist it and then continue to just pull a little bit so it's nice and full, and you can kind of give it as much texture as you want. And then I'm going to use my pin to secure the middle section. So everything's going to be starting here as our foundation. So I want to make sure to secure this really well. So I'll put a few pins in here, so I have a nice base to pin my other hair to. So I'm kind of just going actually in the center of it and then turning and pinning to make sure that I have a nice solid base right here. All right, now that you have the middle section secured, you're going to be working one piece on this side, then one piece on this side, and then we're going to use the bottom of the hair to wrap up into a chignon. So I have her hair parted on the side and the front, and I'm going to gather all the hair from the very front of her head. So we're taking from the ear forward, and I'm actually going to put a little more of this in my fingertips now and rub it in a little bit, and you can kind of work it through the hair. So if it's already curled just a little bit, it's going to naturally kind of curl in your hands as you bring it back. If you don't have it curled, that's okay too. It just won't have quite as clean of a look. So as I pull it across, I'm gonna loosely hold it as I pull, and then I'm just gonna pull the pieces out. And so because I have this texture product in, the pieces wanna stay really nicely. And it's a little bit heavier than other texture products, so I wouldn't necessarily be too heavy-handed on it, especially in people with really fine hair. So once I've gotten into the texture I want, I'm going to take two pins and I'm going to secure the middle before I secure the end. So I'll go in straight. So I'm holding the pin, I'm going straight to the scalp, and then turning it and pushing it. And I'm pushing it into the pins that I already used as a foundation. So then you can see it wants to stay by itself, which is nice. And then I will do the last pin here. And I'm taking the ends and pinning at the top of it, and then just leaving the ends out. So these ends will stay out. So then you can see this is all secure, and if you feel like it needs to have a little bit more security, you can go through and take a couple more pins and put them in if you think you need that. And then you'll do the other side. So again, I'm taking from above the ear and separating that out. And you can see, since I already prepped it a little bit, it wants to curl this way. So I'll take a little bit more of this texture spray or texture cream, put it in my fingers, and what it does is it kind of turns to almost a powder in your hands. So instead of having to sprinkle the powder on or spray it, you kind of work it in where you want, which is nice. I was a little skeptical about it at first because it felt like maybe a little too messy or it wouldn't work as well, but it actually is working great. All right, so same thing here. I'm going to pull it across, and then before I do anything, I'm going to just pull it out gently, kind of like every other strand, so you can kind of get that really piecey look. And because I have the texture product in there, it's sticking. So what I'll do then is the same thing I did on the other side, where I'm going in and pinning it into that base that we created. so it stays nice and secure. If you don't create the base first and you just pull this across, you are gonna risk having the hair just slip down because the pins have nowhere to stay. So that's why I created that nice big base first. And then the last pin will be at the very end. We'll do like that. And then you want to make sure you don't have any gaps on this side, so you can see how I have a little hole right here. I'm going to take that up with a pin. So I will put the pin into this hair and pull it up, push it down like that. Now you can see I still have a gap, so I'm going to do it again with a little more hair. Just like so. You can kind of pull the hair across to make sure there's no more gaps. All right, now we're coming back to this side. And so I'm gonna take the majority of the hair that's left over on this half and bring it around. And so I'm gonna do the same thing. Oops, dropped it. All right, got it back. No worries, take a little bit. We're gonna do the same thing. Just put it in your fingertips and then twist it across. So I'm actually going to take the end from the last piece that I pinned and wrap it in with this one. So this end is hanging out here. We're going to bring it together this time. So we're going to pull it out. I'm going to take my pins and secure right into that base. So I'm kind of going up this time a little bit because the base is a little bit higher than where I'm working now. So I can feel those bobby pins in there when I go. So I'm not just blindly securing it. I'm securing it into the base that I created. All right, and then same thing. I'm gonna do one more pin to secure this to the side. All right, now this is really pretty, but I just wanna wrap up the bottom here, okay? So I have two big sections left. The first one, I'm gonna take this one on this side, including the end that I just finished. So here's the end that I finished and this piece on this side. And I'm gonna take this hair and I'm gonna do a little bit more of the cream texture spray or texture cream. I'm used to using spray and powder, obviously, that's why I said that. Okay, so you're gonna divide it into two and you're going to twist it because this hair is a little bit thicker down here. So by twisting it, it's gonna help it remain more secure when you roll it up. So we have this nice twist here, and I'm just gonna loosely pull the twist out. So I'm pulling it. And once you've pulled it up, you can take your ends and roll the ends up. And I'm gonna use a rolling technique. So I'm taking this twist and rolling it up into itself. So all the way up to here. And you can find up in here where your bobby pin base is. So I'm going up in here and I'm going to hold it with my thumb and then I'm going to start pinning in there. So you don't want to take one bobby pin to secure all of that because it will just slip out. You want to do multiple, and that's why I keep my thumb in there as I'm pinning. And it's going up into that base that we created. If the person has really short hair, then you can skip the twisting step where I just twisted it and just tuck it up. It's just a little bit of a smoother look. All right, and then this is my last piece. So I'm gonna do the same thing that I just did because her hair is long. Take a little bit of the texture cream, put in my fingers, and then we're going to do a loose twist. Just like so. And then I'm gonna pull it out. So this creates texture in the chignon. So it has a little bit more of an interesting look. And then I'm gonna take my ends because they're kind of ratty, which a lot of people's ends often are actually in the real world. And I'm rolling it up. So I'm gonna roll it and then I'm gonna pin it to the base. So I'm feeling the base bobby pins that I have and the base of her head and I'm pinning it right there. Now because she's a mannequin, obviously her hair is a little easier to work with. So if someone's hair is really, really thick or super long, I recommend maybe doing a braid here instead. That might stay a little bit better. And to make sure you use a lot of bobby pins. I've only had to use 2 or 3 because her hair is easy. All right, and then you just want to take a look at it and you can see if there's any spots that seem imbalanced or that you need to fill the gaps in a little bit by kind of pulling the hair out. But because you have that nice texture in there, you're able to kind of work it with your fingers and pull it out in different ways. Even up here, you can loosen it a little bit how you want. And then you can add a cute accessory, whatever you want to do. But anyway, that's my tutorial for the Big Sexy Hair Cream to Powder Play. If you like this video, please like it and subscribe, and please join us at the Updo Collective. If you're not a member of our Facebook group, I would love to have you there, so you can find it at the updocollective.com. Okay, see you next time.